All right, I'm with Jeremy here in Columbia, South Carolina, and I'm going to ask Jeremy what the Oliver Mission does for the people in the community. So, hey Jeremy, good morning.
Good morning.
All right, can you tell me a few things about how your shelter helps the homeless and who they impact, and also how much of an impact does the Gospel Mission make?
Okay, absolutely. Oliver Gospel Mission has been around since 1888. 127 years ago, Reverend Oliver created, it was not called Oliver Gospel Mission at that point, it was called the Columbia Mission, to serve the homeless in and around Columbia. Currently, we have three programs. We've got our emergency shelter program, which is for men who are experiencing an episode of homelessness, and it gives them short-term place to stay in order to shower, meals, and those kinds of things. We also have our Hand Up program, which is a program specifically targeted to men who are employed or employable but are not dealing with addiction issues, to help them get back on their feet, whether it's because they're looking for a job and they're trying to be able to go out and represent themselves as best they can to get employed, or whether it's because they've already gotten a job and they need to be able to have stable housing to be able to maintain their employment. We're there for them and providing what they need to be able to move on. And then our last program is our substance abuse program, which is a 1-year-long program where guys can come in, and it's very intensive. It's residential. They stay here at the mission for most of the day for the first 6 months. Classes, we've got a licensed counselor on our staff, and we're really trying to address substance abuse from a holistic standpoint. We deal with the physical, we deal with the mental, and we also deal with the spiritual. We are a Christ-based mission, and so at the heart of everything that we do is the gospel of Jesus Christ.
Okay, that's cool. Do you think, you mentioned about substance abuse, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you think homeless people generally do that in order to kind of like ignore their reality and try to, I don't know, numb out reality and, try to get rid of the pain?
That's a great question. There is some speculation about whether a higher degree of people develop substance abuse issues as a result of their homeless situation, or become homeless because of their substance abuse. And I really don't have an answer one way or the other. I can easily imagine being in a similar situation where someone might want to try to numb the pain and the dejection and loneliness that they and there's an enormous amount of anxiety because if you've got no place to go, we take a lot of things for granted. Being able to lock the door behind you at night, being able to take a shower and those kinds of things. So I would imagine that there are some certainly who turn to drugs and alcohol to cope with that. So
I'm a common man in your society, in your community. What can I do to help the mission here, or what can I do to help the good work that you're doing?
Okay, there are a number of different ways that people can be part of Oliver Gospel Mission to help out as we minister to the community. One of the ways is volunteering. Nonprofit organizations always need help because our budgets are dependent upon donations, and we have to make more with less. And so when we have people who are willing to come in and to volunteer, that allows us to offer a wider variety of services because we're not having to pay for man hours for that.
Right.
And there are some things that people have skills in that nobody on my staff has skill with, and they can come in and they can offer expertise in that where I don't. There are a variety of ways that can work, whether it's working directly with the people that we serve, or it's kind of the background stuff. We've had people in the past do volunteer web design for us. We've had people offer legal services for us and those kinds of things. So, in terms of volunteering, it's across the board. In terms of in-kind donations, we again are running, based on what we're given. And so one of the services we offer is we have a clothing room. And so we provide clothing to people who either have very little or are unable to take care of what they do have. And so when we do get donations of clothing, we make sure that the clothing that we're giving out is the kind of clothing that we would wear, because we want to preserve the dignity of the men that we're serving.
Right.
So, donations of clothing that are in good condition, gently loved, I think, is the expression that people tend to use.
Right.
And then, of course, monetary donations are always beneficial.
Cool. Do you think homelessness can ever be rooted out? I know we provide shelter, and maybe are we curing the symptom, or are we trying to root out homelessness altogether? Can we build low budget household and provide a shelter for homeless people? Do you think that would help, or are they always traveling and they're not in one place? Do you think that won't solve the problem, or do you think we can do anything to root out the problem completely?
That's a very complicated question and a very good one. You're seeing a lot of housing first initiatives where government entities and local agencies are working together to provide housing to people who are in homeless situations. And your question presupposed the response on that just a little bit, but we feel like in some cases that the homelessness is a symptom of the problem, and that simply by housing a person, and you're seeing some places where housing first initiatives are failing because they're seeing as these people move into housing that the root problem that put them in that position in the first place hasn't been addressed, and it continues to be a problem. There are, on the other hand, some people for whom that is absolutely exactly what is needed, and so that's a very good thing. Can we root it out? I think there are so many very different reasons that people end up in homeless situations that it's going to be hard to render it to absolute zero. I think there are some things that we can do to reduce it. And one of the things that Oliver Gospel Mission is doing is we're trying to address the problem on the front end and on the back. And so, most of our effort goes into addressing homelessness on the back end, because once they become homeless, the damage is already done. Obviously, our aim is to intervene as soon after that homeless episode begins as possible, because what that's going to enable us to do is to get them back up on their feet, and they're not going to be as affected by the length of that problem for as long. But on the opposite end, what we're trying to do is we're trying to engage the local community to help prevent people from becoming homeless, so that they never have to come stay with us.
Right.
And some of that is educational initiatives. Some of that is being able to get churches connected with low-income communities, so that they see the need that the people have, and they're able to address those needs, not in a way that enables them, but in a way that empowers them to continue on without needing to receive outside assistance.
Sweet. Well, that's all the questions I had.
Fantastic.
But thank you very much for your time.
It's my pleasure.
All right, cool.